So this morning we learn the basics about protecting our data and information online. So recently we found out that there is significant vulnerabilities in Jamaica's cyber infrastructure. Many websites have been hacked and some persons' information or their data is being held at ransom. We have cybersecurity expert Kevin Gordon, who is here to help us understand what is happening on the deep, dark web and how to protect ourselves and our devices from being hacked. And so we welcome Kevin Gordon at this time. Good morning, Kevin. How are you doing?
Good morning, Richie. I am well, fine, thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm glad to hear that. You know, before I get into the meat of the matter, I want you to sort of help me with some terminologies, understanding these terms, such as cybersecurity. When we talk about cybersecurity, what are we really talking about?
Essentially, it's doing the right thing to protect your data on and offline. So if you have a computer that has information about the company that you're working for or just general information about you, it's your responsibility to ensure that the actions that you take on that computer, whether you're online or offline, your information that's stored there is protected. Mm-hmm. So that's essentially what it is. Just ensuring that your activities are protecting the data that is sitting on that computer. And that's the crown jewel.
And that leads me to my next question for you to make it clear so persons understand this reference to data. What is data and what happens if persons are able to access your personal data online?
Well, data is just general information about who you are, the company that you work for, the things that you're doing. And that, again, is the highlight of that's a dream for every hacker because it gives information about the company's proprietary information, what they are doing. It could be used as a play for another company to get ahead. It could be used as a play for a country to get information about another country, just to get infiltrated in that infrastructure. And it also could be used to do what we call identity theft. It's bigger in North America, but it's also common in the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. And your information could be stolen. Also, credit card information could be stolen as well. And then somebody could be racking up high charges about you and your infrastructure, and you're not aware of it.
So these hackers will go after personal information as well as even corporate companies' information.
Yeah, man, it's standard. Some companies are not doing some of the right things. And it's not just the banking infrastructure. Mm-hmm. You'd have heard about the Marriott. Someone sat in their infrastructure for 4 years. And we call that a remote access Trojan, where someone will get access to someone's computer and they'll work their way into that computer, sit in that computer for 4 years, and they'll take information away from that company for 4 years. And you're not aware of it. Mm-hmm. And at the end of that process, after they have taken the information away, then they encrypt the data. And at that point in time, you'll see what we call a ransom attack or ransomware attack, where your data is now encrypted and they're asking you for millions of dollars to get your data back. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these companies, unfortunately, Richie B, they do not see cybersecurity as a revenue protector. They see it as a cost center. And that is the issue. That is what we need to fix in the Caribbean. North America, not so bad because, they've been hit significantly and persons have realized that cybersecurity is important. In the Caribbean, we're doing, we're coming along, but we're not there yet. Some persons think that a traditional antivirus, and I can get into that as well, is important, but we're not moving from traditional antivirus to an EDR, and I can speak about that as well.
So it sounds like you're saying that if people can ignore their cybersecurity at their own peril, or even companies for that matter. I have to ask you, how big a problem is it really, and is it being underreported?
It's a massive, massive issue. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of companies are not reporting the general issue of cybersecurity attacks. So companies who are being hacked know, because there's a reputational damage to a lot of those companies. They're not talking about it. And you can understand. For the Data Protection Act, especially in Jamaica, you have to report it within 72 hours. For GDPR, you have to report it within a certain time. And there are massive fines as well. You can be fined up to what we call 4% of your entire gross revenue. So companies who are hacked, if they do not report it, they can be fined. But also, when they are hacked, there's a massive, massive reputational damage. And there are some companies that do not recover. There's a Michigan healthcare institution that did not recover from a cyber attack. They had to close their doors. And they spent 2 weeks, Richie B, 2 weeks sitting in the hallway, the doctors, receiving customers and telling them that they did not have their information. Wow. They could not see who was coming in. They had no information about their medical records, and they could not do anything. So they were literally shut down for that 2 week period. After that, they went out of business.
Wow. I happen to know of a company locally, a big corporate entity that I do business with, and for several weeks they were not able to generate an invoice outside of a manual invoice because of problems apparently in terms of cybersecurity issues. And so I think it is really a big problem, and many times not even widely reported. But what are some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to even browsing the web?
So there are some basic things that individuals should be doing. I'll start with the companies. One, I would say, as a company, you need to move away from what we call your traditional types of antivirus. And I call these the antiviruses of latter days. So the ones that you have purchased in the early 2000s and late 1990s, get rid of those. These are standard antiviruses. You need what we call endpoint detection and response, which is EDR. It's an autonomous tool that looks at known and unknown threats, because there are over 4,000 new threats. And we call these massive ransomware threats that happens every single day. There's 300,000 new malwares created every single day. You cannot catch all of them with what we call a signature-based antivirus. I'll get very high level. If there's a vulnerability sitting in your environment, it will be exposed and you will be hacked. At the individual level, users need to do a few things. One, turn on what we call MFA if you have access to these services online. So you're going to your bank. Instead of putting in your passwords and you're getting access into infrastructure, you put your password in, but the bank also has what we call an MFA or 2FA or multi-factor authentication. So a text message comes to your phone, and you put that text message in as an authenticator to get access to your critical information. Why is that important? So let's say your phone is stolen, or let's say someone has access to your password. They get access to your password and they have your username, and 2FA is not enabled. They have access to your information. If 2FA is enabled, then they have to have access to your phone as well. So that's also important. Secondly, do not click on everything you see. One click can take not just your computer down, but your entire organization. We call this zero trust. Even if someone sends something to you and it looks like a legitimate email from Richie B or Kevin Gordon, if it is suspicious, if you do not see the general signature, the general look and feel, look at the header file to see that it's Richie B's email account, Kevin Gordon's email account, be very suspicious of everything you see, especially if you see an attachment or a link for you to click on. It is okay to call Richie. It's okay to call Kevin just to ask, did you send me this email?
Yes.
Even if you're expecting it, be cautious.
Yeah.
And then ensure that you have a proper antivirus on your computer. Move away from traditional signature-based antivirus. The ones that you've purchased in 2020 or in 2001 and 2002, those are outdated. You need to get current EDR for your computers.
Are the hackers ahead of us? Are we playing catch up with them?
In cybersecurity, we say there is no 100%. There's no surety that you'll find every single thing in the environment. These guys this is what they do day in and day out. They live to hack. And they're bypassing a lot of the traditional protection. So people are putting in firewalls, they're protecting their network, thinking that they're okay. These are no longer effective, not as effective as they were in 2001. So yes, they are way ahead of us, Richie B, way ahead. And we are catching up. In a lot of countries, they are doing the right things. Some companies are doing the right things. And unfortunately, Richie B, a lot of companies are only doing cybersecurity protection after they have been hacked. And that is the issue I find in the Caribbean. You have the conversation with a company and they'll tell you, I'm fine. You know, I have a traditional antivirus that works for me. I have not been hacked, so why should I put this in? When they are hacked, that's when they start looking at putting in proper cybersecurity infrastructure.
At the Simply Secure Group, you like accept inquiries or are able to assist persons who might run into problems of this nature?
Yes, we do. So we have customers in 21 countries across the Caribbean, Europe, and of course, Latin America. And so we do a lot of work in terms of incident response, penetration testing. We do managed security for customers. What we have put together for a lot of our customers is what we call 8 points of protection. We realize that you're not going to be doing your traditional cybersecurity responses. So we put a package together for you that includes what we call defense in depth. So I'm not just putting in one layer of cybersecurity to protect your endpoint. I'm ensuring that the holes in your infrastructure, those are fixed as a part of the response. And then every single month, you'll get a report from us to show you where you are. So I'm measuring your cybersecurity risks in the organization. I'm measuring the cybersecurity health. And then I'm showing you exactly where you were when we started the conversation and then where you are every single month on month.
Fantastic. I really appreciate the time you spent with us and the information you shared, Kevin. Thank you very, very much. Have a good day, and we'll call on you again.
Thanks, Richie. Great to be here.
All right, take care. Kevin Gordon, ladies and gentlemen, cybersecurity business executive and CEO of Simply Secure Group, speaking with us this morning about cybersecurity.